Welcome. What an honor is to be here with you. May you receive what you're meant to receive through this transmission. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth, letting it go. One more time, deep inhale. And exhaling. Welcome, welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the relationship between the throat chakra and the womb. And then just a little disclaimer. This is about my experience through my Kundalini Awakening. I haven't read a book about this, I don't or haven't had a teacher outside of myself. This episode, this transmission, all the wisdom that I will be sharing with you comes from my personal experience of the awakening of my throat, and at the same time, a deep connection to my womb. And perhaps there are books out there, who knows? I have no idea. When I first started to go through the Kundalini Awakening process, I remember Googling and there was like nothing about it besides like, oh, this is something that people say is a story that happens, and I'm like, dude, it's definitely not a story. It's happening to me, so this is real. And I think nowadays there's more about it. There's so many things in Google, so I limit that search. I limit the search. Let's just leave it at that. But let's talk into the beautiful portals of the womb and the throat. I mean, there's a really deep relationship between your throat and the womb. There's such a connector that goes from these two channels, and help each other to awaken, help each other to connect with one another, help each other to connect to you, the personal consciousness, so you connect with the consciousness. Yeah. And so what I find really beautiful is that when one starts to awaken, the other one immediately does. And of course, everything is related in the body. If one thing opens up, there's another space in the body that also opens up, right? But what I'm going to here is that correlation, okay? And so let me go a little bit back. My neck, and if you have witnessed the videos in my YouTube channel or listen to the videos that I post there about my own awakening experience, you maybe have read, or excuse me, you have listened to perhaps actually read the lips, but you have listened to my experience of my neck cracking. And my neck has been cracking since 2018. We are in 2023, about to enter 2024. Okay. And it was a wild process. It wasn't something that I knew existed. I was just very blessed that I already knew amazing people in a community that's what they did. They witnessed bodies through their own awakening experience. They witnessed the cracking, they witnessed the moving, and that was celebrated. So it wasn't something super weird. It was more weird to look at myself in the mirror and see what in the world my neck was doing. Because for a while, like my boyfriend and I, like both of our necks were cracking and we'll like see each other, but I wasn't seeing how I looked like when that was happening until I actually went into the mirror. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why at times he can't take me seriously when I'm speaking and my neck is moving like in this directions. But I never questioned that, again, and that's because one more time, not only having the blessing of knowing this communities, but also the deep trust that I have in my being, the deep trust that awakened within me the moment that the Kundalini awakening happened, okay? It's such a deep blessing, and I'm so grateful for that. And so it all started with my arms. My arms started to move, and then the neck started to crack. And I will realize that at times when my neck will crack, I will feel this thing in my yoni, and then the neck will crack and the yoni will relax. And so at the beginning, it wasn't something that I was so aware about because I was so deep in the movement of my neck and the cracking of my neck that it was too much to actually bring the awareness on what was happening in my lower body. Because first it was like, whoa, my neck is moving in this direction, and it is cracking this way, and it feels good when it cracks, and it looks so weird when it's moving this way. So the beginning is almost like, whoa, there's a lot of information going on, and there's a lot of movement going on, and what, this actually happens, but that's normal, cool, thanks. So that is the in a way that only somewhat awareness that I could have on what was going on and feel, right? Because there is this tightness that happens when, and I'm just gonna go back into my own story rather than making it general, okay? The moments that my neck will move, it will move in such a way that it will tense up a particular part of my body that was already tense to release the tightness there. And the release will happen through the crack. So at times the neck will position itself in such a funky and really weird way, honestly, that would allow to the body to have the awareness of this tightness in a particular part, especially the upper body or even the neck itself, to be like, hey, this right here is tight, and this is how we can reach to this part of you when your neck is in this really weird position. And so the more that the neck will pull away from this part, the more that the tightness will begin to stretch, and then crack will happen and release. It'll be like, oh, thank you. Okay. And so it was something, and it's still, because, it's still cracking. And at times you probably have seen me and the videos of the podcast, if you have actually watched the videos, that I still let it happen, okay? It still happens. Sometimes my body wakes up in the middle of the night because it's cracking, because something that I'm doing in the dream world space opens up something in my physical body, and then it cracks, releases, and I go back to bed. Or not. So the thing is that I've been in such a space of like awe with the process in my physical body that it became this thing, this marvelous experience. It wasn't like, wow, this is so fucking weird, At the beginning, it was like, okay, yeah, this is a little weird, especially when I get to witness my boyfriend from my perspective of seeing him. And then when I witness myself moving in videos, right? But it's more of like, what is happening behind the scenes that is the most fascinating process. And I love this part of the awakening. Yes, you get to tap into your gifts, you get to heal, you get to like cuddle these cords, you get to like whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. But the most precious things for me is to actually witness my body wake up, to actually witness the whole process of coming back into a balanced state, into homeostasis, It's kind of like, dang, wow, we get to do that. Yes, I get to do that. I am doing that. I'm literally witnessing the process of my body of coming back into centerness and releasing tightness that I've had for who knows how long, that maybe is related to some kind of ancestral trauma or some personal trauma or some, something in the collective, whatever it is. And it's precious to have that awareness, to like be behind the scenes of this whole process and just be so in love with yourself and just tap into like holy shit, I have that awareness to witness my body like that, the trust and the deep love in the process, to just let it happen, even if others witnessing me be like, what the fuck is going on with you? Because honestly, I've had those looks from the very moment, literally, that all the cracking started to happen. I never stopped it. Actually, excuse me, I stopped it once, and that was because it was getting very intense and I was driving, and I was like, please buddy, just wait until I get to my room, because there's a lot going on right now and I need to like really pay attention to the road. But then no, maybe two. I just remember another one. I just remember another one, but I was just not in a space where I could trust people holding space for me at that moment. But okay, you know, besides those two, I just let it happen. And there was a lot of like, some of my friends, they will look at me, it's like, what's going on with your neck? Like, you know, what is that? Or like, are you okay? And so then so my question back to them would be, or the answer would be like, I'm okay. Would you like to know what's happening? And would you like to know the truth of what most people want to hear? Because I'm going to tell you the truth, you know? And of course, you know, when you ask that question, they're like, I want to know the truth, of course, right? And they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? But this is how truthful I am with my whole experience. I do it in front of my family. They're like super aware of this. I tell them about it, you know. I give them that wisdom, right? So they know what's happening with my body, and they're just not looking at me like I'm an odd one. And I'm probably still the odd one, and that's okay. It happens in front of my boyfriend's family, and I let it. It happens when I practice yoga asana when I'm not teaching, and I let it. Which I'm aware that most of the time I'm in the front row, and there's people behind me that are seeing my body crack in different ways. I can care less who is watching me, honestly. What I care about is allowing my body to do what it needs to do because it knows. That is the pure consciousness of life, that it is allowing my body to just do what it needs to do in order to come into a balanced state, in order to rearrange the vertebrae, in order to put the throat or the yoni into balance, period. So I let it happen. And again, as I was saying, most of the things are in the throat, which then a couple years ago, I realized that whenever I will lay down and I will let the crack happen, I could actually tap into what's happening in my yoni. And when there will be really, really deep cracks and intensity pulling in my neck, the moment that it will crack, the yoni will relax. Sometimes even my hip bone will crack or something into my lower body, and then the yoni will relax. And then I also started to pay more attention to that. So how does that affect, you know, my lower body? How does that affect my legs, the way that I walk, the way that my toes point, the way that I stand, the way of my foundation, my legs, you know, my hip area. And it was a night and day difference. Again, my posture and being aware of how there were many things happening in my pelvic floor that I had no idea was happening. And again, massive healing, right? Healing, of course, like emotional trauma. At the same time, physical. And then, you know, I started to pay even deeper attention to the energetics. It's like, can I get really deep in my womb through this? Because that's what I had been doing with my throat, you know? So when the throat begins to do those things and begins to pull itself, like in a way apart, you know, and I'm feeling the tightness in the specific part of my yoni. If I relax that part of the yoni, where can I go with this? And it started to take me really deep in the energetics of my own yoni. And at the same time, you know, like not just the energetics, of course, the physical and my womb, you know, so it's like, wow. And get this. So this is like the very beginning. And I was just, again, you know, witnessing everything behind the scenes, like in awe of like, the intelligence of this being that is not me. It's just my best friend. And if I let it do what it knows to do and I step out of the way, holy shit, it just goes like this into balanced state. When I stop fighting it, and when I stop saying, like, I think I have all the answers, because obviously I don't, you know, consciousness does. I'm a personal story that derives from consciousness. So I don't have all the answers, but my body, when I literally step out of the way and it's pure consciousness, so deeply relaxed, can do that. And there's a story that I'm going to share with you before getting deeper into the yoni part in the throat, the womb part in the throat. I have a beautiful sister, a soul sister that lives in Peru. And her husband is, and as you can tell, my body's moving and cracking. I just want to take a second to acknowledge the fact that my body and my neck just crack while I'm making this episode. So I invite you to watch the video if you're curious about it, because a lot of times it doesn't really happen quite frequently, honestly. Anyways. So her husband actually like helps people to come back into the balanced state through the spine, you know, it adjusts the spine and the whole deal, which has a name and right now it's not popping up and I'm not going to worry about that. So last year when I was in Peru and I was there for almost 3 months, he was the one who adjusted me. I will go with him like every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks. And before leaving, I asked him, what is it that I can do so I don't have to go to a chiropractor, thank you, word, to a chiropractor every three weeks or every month? And of course, he had witnessed my body cracking and my body coming into balanced state from the very beginning, from the very first session. And he told me, you don't need a chiropractor. Your body is a chiropractor. And I was so honored, honestly, and so grateful for his words, because it was the first time that somebody in this side of the world actually celebrated the weirdness of my being. Because this is seen very weird, honestly. In the side of this world is seeing like, what is happening with you? In the other side of the world, in Asia, when that's like totally normal, it's like, yes, you're cracking. Totally, honestly. It's just like beautiful. And then he told me, when you relax your body will readjust itself. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And apparently that's also what he does, that he told me, you know? So he said, just relax every night, breathe, and allow your body to readjust. And that's what I do. That's what my body does when I wake up in the morning too. And throughout the night, if I times like things happened, right? Which is beautiful. So if any of you are going through that and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And this is so fucking weird. This is a blessing. This is a blessing. I know so many people, and I've heard also about so many people, they will want to be in your shoes. They have been searching to awaken their Kundalini energy, have some kind of really deep experience with spirituality and the awakening process. And, you know, again, when you search, and you're just pulling the energy towards you, the energy is like, yo, you need to chill out. Once you're chill, I come to you. Anyways, so it's a blessing. And I'm really grateful. And I'm very, very grateful because it's such a wonderful gift, such a wonderful gift. So going back into the throat and the womb, what I started to notice too was about my voice. My voice, of course, you know, the throat is cracking. The throat is opening up. The throat chakra is opening up. You're rediscovering what it feels like, going back to the present tense of me. I was rediscovering how I sound like, how to speak my truth, what my truth actually is, when my truth wants to be expressed, when my truth doesn't want to be expressed, when I want to listen to others' truth and just be quiet, and also acknowledging that there's a deep power that comes through words. So being mindful of the words that I use. So all this correlation, and also the light language and chanting in light language and just chanting in general, that I began to experience something even greater through my voice, and knowing that there's something there that my soul wanted to come through my voice. So at this moment in time, I'm in a voice program with my beautiful, beautiful, dear sister, teacher, and mentor, Dominique Zuniga. You might have heard of her. She's amazing. You might have heard her voice, actually. Just everything about her is amazing. And so thank you so much, sister. If you ever tap into this episode, thank you. And through this program, I've noticed that the more I reach higher notes, however they sound like, the more my throat cracks. The more I feel the tightness in the throat and some channels opened, and the more that these channels begin to open up through cracks. Very intense cracks, by the way. Different kind of cracks than other cracks that have been happening before. And when this happens, when this tightness is felt before the crack, there is a specific tightness in my yoni that, again, I relax the tightness of the throat begins to relax, it cracks, it opens, and something in the yoni opens. And then more deep connection into the womb opens up. So I've been sitting with all this for a few weeks now, just like being like, holy shit. This is a super great opportunity for us, especially for us sisters, to tap more into not just the power of the womb, but the power of your voice, right? Letting go of the ideas of how your voice should sound like and allowing your voice to sound like it does. And the more that you are in the truth, the more deep channels of the yoni in the womb wakens. And then you connect even deeper to that power of your own creation through your voice. Dang. I mean, if people actually talked about this when we were growing up, or when others are growing up, there wouldn't be so much shit in the world, But I understand also that this is part of the whole experience that as a collective we're going through, right? To also alchemize different things through the voice, because this is what's happening too, especially with the war. I've noticed too that in some prompts, when I allow my being to express this grief, it goes deep and deep and deep into the grief of humanity. And the words just channel, the words just come through. And at the same time, like that deep pain and tapping into my own voice and the power that my voice has is relaxing so much the power of my creativity and the power that I hold as a woman in my womb and in my yoni. So these two centers are so related because they are so creative too, They channel so much, and it's their own different kind of versions. But the more that we're tap into one, the more the other one is also like, hey, she is taking her time to get to know us. That's exciting. So let's get to know her too. And then I begin to merge even more with these two centers, which is just super empowering, honestly. And let me tell you that, of course, I had to work through many things about my voice, because I was made fun of, as a kid with my voice, and even as an adult, right? And it's not again, right? Like when we take things too personally, when it hurts, when we don't feel that we're good enough, then it's just like we're more open to receive those kinds of like feedbacks, right? Which I did. I did. And I wanted to sound like how beautiful voice people sound, but that's not my voice. My voice has its own beauty and its own sounds and its own vibrations. I have my own vibrations, like you have your own vibrations. So honoring that in us as women can really help us to surrender to the power of our voice. And through that, a plus, the power of your womb and your yoni, which has been healing so many things that I thought I had already healed. And not just that, just having the deep awareness of like, this happened, thank you very much. And I let you go with love. I'm grateful. Thank you. Rather than sitting so deep in a process for so long to heal something, I'm just letting the energy pass through because I'm trusting my voice and I'm getting into the upper channels, because I've probably said this many times in other transmissions in the podcast. One of the things that Yogi Bhajan said is the throat is the most challenging point of the awakening. And in my experience, it definitely is. Because imagine when you have stopped to express yourself out of fear, okay? When you didn't trust yourself, you didn't trust your voice, you just wanted to be in this tiny cocoon and just like, oh, there's so much tension, so many channels closed up. And so when the energy is rising up and is so ready to just like go like, and it finds all these blockages, and it's like pushing all these things up and trying to move all this energy. So it's just like, oh, so much tension, so much cracking, so much like, whoa. But then when that all moves around, it's like, wow, I'm here. This is my voice? What? Because trust me, your voice is so beautiful. Your voice is so beautiful. And then channeling things from the depth of your womb through your voice. Another deep correlation with the two of them. It's a gift. It's such a gift and such a power that we hold as women. So I invite you, sister, to get to know your voice, to be so intimate, to be curious about how she sounds like, to invite her, just like you invite your inner child, right? Invite her with so much love, so much gratitude, and just let her be. Let her be. And through that, again, the plus of getting deeper in a deeper relationship with your womb, getting to know your womb from a different perspective, a more intimate relationship also with your womb. Wow. Which gives me an idea of just doing workshops about it. Because it's so important as women that we remember these power centers and the gifts that we have in the centers. That's just me, though. I believe in that. If that resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, that's great too, It's your life, it's your truth, this is my truth. And I trust that by listening to this transmission, something ignited in you, or maybe something softened up if you are in this part of your process. And know that as you're so beautiful and so powerful. And I honor the power in you as much as I honor the power in me and in our ancestors and in life. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking your time. And I will see you next time. Ciao.